Okay, so welcome back. We're going to talk about the syllabus now for just a few minutes, and so you should open up Canvas and go to the home page for the course, and you can see it looks something like what you've got in front of you. Again, the modules are the things that you can click on down in the center here, and each one of them displays its contents below. Now we're going to, instead of working through a module here, we're going to just go over and click on the syllabus. And there you go, the syllabus for the entire course. I'll go through this relatively quickly. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. I'd be glad to answer those. But the course, as mentioned before, is one dealing with ethical issues in computer science. Everything from intellectual property to privacy issues to security issues to a whole bunch of brand new issues that come across every month. There's something else, sometimes every day. So we'll try to deal with as many things as we can, the really interesting stuff that comes into play in the world of computing, computer science, electrical engineering, computer engineering, and so on. It's a course that has a LibEd credit as well with it, so not always is it confined to just CS majors and electrical engineering majors, but there may be others of you in here as well. But as far as what the outcomes are for the course, the campus has a set of student learning outcomes that they're interested in verifying. You know, can you use ethical reasoning to make informed decisions and so on. There are also a bunch of humanities concerns here. You know, the methods of inquiry that we're using, and how do we analyze issues for ethical content, and so on. You can read over that list. There's a bunch of these. We also use this course for handling the communication and writing component of ABET's concern. And so you have a presentation, you'll have to do oral presentation. You can go ahead and make a video if you want and submit those. Last semester we did all YouTube videos, worked fine, however you want to do it. And a written paper at the end of the semester, which should be in some professional format, either ACM or IEEE format, and there's links to some of that later on in the syllabus here. So among the expectations for the course, basically I think there's a couple that are important. One is that you should be doing your own work. You should be contributing to the work of others, trying to help them improve what they're doing, and you should be able to demonstrate at the end of the semester that you have full command of the ethical frameworks we talk about, how to apply them, and that you've researched in depth some ethical issue and analyzed it using those frameworks. But more about that as we go on. You've already met me. I'm Jim Allert. The course is listed as remote, which means we have class via Zoom on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We won't have class every Tuesday and Thursday because I've got tons of online material that I'd like you to look at, and I don't want to pile that on top of Zoom things and everything else. But we will have certain meetings, and I'll let you know each week when we'll have those. The analysis part, the writing part of the course, that you do that on your own. You'll submit a written work either on Canvas, either to me, or you'll contribute to a discussion group that we have going on Canvas. So that's pretty much fully online. Teaching assistant to be announced. We'll see who that is later in this month. The text, there's no textbook. Instead, what we're going to do is work through a bunch of assigned readings that I will give you, and some of these you will be asked to write analysis of, and others we'll simply discuss. So there's lots of those that will come up, and they'll be on the calendar. You'll see as we go through the modules every week what the assigned readings are. Of course, we're using Canvas and so on. The syllabus right now is under revision, and it will be for the next month or so until early September. It's early August right now, okay? So a few things may change, but not much. The course structure is pretty established. The first 2 weeks we spend on the history of computer science. You kind of see that, these down here, my list of topics. Ignore this if you see Chapter 1, Chapter 2. That's an old textbook that used to be used, and we no longer use a text. So I may get rid of those before you actually look at this syllabus. So we do a bunch on the history of computer science and computer ethics, and then we have an exam. Then we cover a bunch of topical areas, another exam, and at the end of the semester, the last month or so, it's student presentations. And so you'll be called on to give or record a video of, maybe 15, 20 minutes in length, in which you explain the intricacies of some particular dilemma or problem that we need to deal with in computer science or engineering, and you go into it in depth. I will be assigning those presentation topics, so that'll come out probably the end of the second week. Course policies, a couple of things here when it comes to communication. So I will get messages to you out via announcements that will show up on Canvas. They'll always be on the home page, but you'll get them in your email as well. So announcements and email, we'll use those a lot. If you email me or the TA, please make sure you put CS3111 in the subject line. I get dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of emails from different sources all day long in an average day, and so it just helps me to pick out the ones that, okay, here we go, these are the ones with the ethics course, and then deal with those. Otherwise, things can tend to get lost. Discussion groups or discussion sessions, we will have lots of these on Canvas for almost every topic in the course, and a number of these will be graded. For example, your first assignment will be, I will give you a prominent person in computer science, and you will have to go investigate this person and find out a little bit about what their important accomplishments were and what kind of ethical challenges they faced along the way. And so that's something. Then I will have a discussion forum set up for that, and you'll contribute your knowledge to the forum. And so we'll have a really interesting and relatively complete, I think, discussion forum of prominent people in computer science and the dilemmas they face. It's fascinating to look that over when it gets constructed. We'll do that in the first 2 weeks. As far as behaviors and stuff, an online course. There's two things about online courses. All right, number one, they are a real challenge when it comes to time management. Anyone who's ever taken an online course, and you probably know this from last spring, it's easy to let the stuff get away from you, and it's like, oh my gosh, now I got 15 videos to view and all kinds of other stuff to do by tomorrow. And don't let that happen. Make sure that you're nailing something with this course every day as we go along, so that you stay with it. And then things are under control. Don't let them get out of control. The other thing I would say about an online course is it's easy to think about the online discussions we have as kind of a freewheeling life event here that we're all expressing our heartfelt opinions, but don't let it get out of control, please. No trolls. Let's try to be professional. Let's try to be polite. And let's try to make sure that all of our comments actually contribute to the good of the discussion and help other people see our perspectives and give them something that they can actually use as a takeaway to improve whatever it is they're working on. So again, be polite and be professional in your online presence. Let's see, you already know you need a laptop or a desktop. I won't go into that. I'm not really taking roll on anything. I do check to make sure that you're participating in all of the discussions if we have an online activity. So that I do pay attention to. Let's see if there's anything else here that is super critical to know. I think you know about that stuff. Oh, grading, that's kind of important. Okay. So when it comes to grading for this class, it works this way. There are about 8 writing assignments, maybe 15 points apiece, during the course of the semester. A lot of these will be things where I throw out a topic or I give you a reading to do, and then I ask you questions about it and ask you to reflect on it and produce something that shows that you understand the material and you've thought about how it might be applied, maybe in a different way than the author intended. So there's lots of these writing assignments. They mainly happen in the first half to 2/3 of the course, and after that it's all student presentations. Your class presentations were 60 points. Again, I'll be assigning the topic for that. You'll get that by the end of the second week. And you go ahead and go crazy doing research on this. But look for professional sources. Okay, we're looking for scholarly literature, not some Joe Schmo's website where something with credentials behind it, so we have an idea as to what kind of research is being done on this, not just opinion pieces, but solid research. So we're looking at that. You'll have to do a class presentation, like I said, of maybe 20 minutes in length, and you can do it in a video. That's just fine. Works just great. I have a series of grading criteria for it, and so on. Final paper will come from your presentation. That'll be turned in the last week of the semester, unless you get done beforehand. I do check these for plagiarization, so this isn't one of these things where you can just do a Google stitching, copy pasting stuff together and say there's a paper. That won't get you very much. So I'll be looking at analysis and the way you apply our ethical frameworks we've talked about to a specific kind of interesting current situation. So that's a paper. It needs to be in ACM format or IEEE format, as I've said, and I have other requirements as well. And a lot about that. Then the exams, there are 3 exams for the course. One happens after we talk about history of computer science and ethical frameworks. Second one happens after we talk about some of the topical issues in computer science, the major things going on, privacy, intellectual property, security, and so on. And then the last exam happens as our final exam. It's also worth 100 points, the same as the other 2. The final exam is based 100% on the student presentations. So when I look at a student presentation and view and read the discussions that surround it and so on, usually what I will do then is pull out 3 or 4 key points to ask about on the final exam. So usually what happens is, if you haven't seen somebody's presentation, you have no idea what I'm talking about with these questions. If you've seen the presentations, you'll know what I'm talking about, and so make sure that when your presentation time comes, that you're viewing the presentations, viewing the discussions, and contributing to them as best you can, so that you're aware of what's going on when the final exam comes. Grades are percentage based. They're not curved. They're 90, 80, 70. That works pretty well. And class participation, I look at that pretty heavily. When it gets to the end of the semester, I can raise your grade or I can lower your grade based on your class participation. And this cuts both ways. So make sure that you are not just looking at discussions, but contributing substantially to them. And a contribution like, oh, hey, great, I agree with that, means nothing. Okay, it doesn't add anything additional to the discussion. So make sure that you provide substantive participation when you participate. We've talked about the rest of this, and there's a lot of boilerplate from the computer science department and so on. Now, I do have one thing to say. If I can make this course go better for you, let me know. If there's something that I can do to arrange special accommodations for testing or other things, I'm glad to do that, as long as I know in advance. If you're working with disability resources, there's a procedure we follow. Let me know early, and we'll handle that. If there's anything else I can help you with in your particular situation, I'm glad to accommodate that too as best I can. This is a situation that I think none of us really wanted to be in, teaching online or remotely. I love in-class teaching. You can really work with a class and do things you can't do as well online. And it gets from time to time a little bit frustrating, but we all realize that, and it's just something we're going to deal with. I'm going to try to make this course as fun as I can and as interesting as I can, and I think that will go a long way. If you find that for whatever reason you're really stressed out as the semester goes on, there are resources for you, and I put some of those resources in the syllabus. I'm always willing to help out where I can, but I'm not a counselor and in a psychological sense. So, so don't count on me for that. But there are other resources there that hopefully you'll never have to bail yourself out, but they're there. Below the syllabus is a list of all the things that go on in the course. This is populated automatically by Canvas, all the writing assignments and so on. And so we'll do these in turn. On September 7th, you need to turn in your first writing assignment, and this pretty much discusses it. I will give you the name of a prominent person in the history of computer science. I'll do that before the semester begins. And then this writing assignment is you investigating who they are and what their background was and what ethical challenges they faced in their career. And for some people, their careers are all academic and they're kind of whitewashed, and it looks like everything is, there's no ethical dimension to it. But if you dig a little bit, you'll find it on everybody. I mean, there are people who make decisions that are kind of unethical when it comes to advancing how they advance their career. There are issues of people deciding what's really important work to do in their life and what isn't, and they use their values for that. And all kinds of stuff. I've got a long list of possible ways you could go in investigating the ethical dimension of the person that you're assigned. So that's your first assignment. That's there on a link off of the syllabus page. It's also a link off of the module page, the home page for the course. So I hope you have some idea what's going on here now, how the course is structured and laid out. If you have additional questions, let me know. I'm glad to deal with those. And otherwise, I hope you enjoy the course. I always enjoy this course. I think it's really a fun one to teach. And good. So there we are. Thank you for watching.